This is The Wheel Weaves Watches, a spoiler-free breakdown podcast of The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime. I'm your host, Dani, and I'm joined by my co-host, Brett, and we're here to bring you an in-depth look into the Wheel of Time show. We'll share reactions, episode breakdowns, and relevant background information without spoiling future content from the book series. So grab a drink and let's get watching! We'd like to thank and acknowledge our executive producers, Brandy and Kirkwood, Sean McGuire, Yanis, Albert Lorenzo, LightBlindedFool, Green Man, Deyvis, Ferreira, Margaret, Big C, Bennett, Williamson, Dylan C, Hannah Green, and Jamie Milligan. In this episode, we're talking about episode 4 of season 1.
Yeah, episode 4 is called The Dragon Reborn. This is a good one, and I'm really glad we had subtitles on again because there's some stuff in the dialogue that comes up.
Ooh, interesting.
That otherwise you wouldn't know necessarily, too.
Okay.
It's kind of interesting.
Okay, I look forward to that. My note for this episode is that it looks a lot brighter.
Yeah, you were doing the comparison.
Like, physically, on screen, it looks a lot brighter.
As opposed to last episode, you were talking about the
really
muted colors.
Muted, yeah.
Okay, that's a good TV show thing.
Cinematography, perhaps?
That's the one. Okay.
Okay, I finally looked up the definition of cinematography.
We've said it enough, yeah.
I've said it enough. Turns out it's the art and technology of motion picture photography.
Okay.
The art of making motion pictures.
Okay, so not... Okay, I feel like that's not colors then.
No. Okay, so listen. It involves such techniques as the general composition of a scene, the lighting of a set or location, the choice of cameras, lenses, filters, and film stock, the camera angle and movements, and the integration of any special effects.
Okay.
So basically how it looks.
Maybe, yeah, okay.
That's what I'm getting from this.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe costume design too.
No.
Okay.
That's costume design.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It could be, instead of saying cinematography, we should be saying costume design is brighter.
But I wasn't talking about the costumes.
Okay.
I was talking about overall, like, the scenes, the shots.
Okay.
The foliage in the trees, the everything.
What else?
Other things, too.
Okay. Okay, let's get into this. Because the opening scene...
Was that not clear enough for you?
I'm not a TV guy, so I
get it now. I know. Now
totally,
I know.
Totally. Once again, the show does a fantastic cold open. I love it so much.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's really good. If we judge this show solely on the opening scenes...
Oh, man, they're nailing this.
They win.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to enter in Gildan.
Yeah, and we've actually heard of this place in the first episode.
Yes, we did.
The boys were talking about rumors of war.
In the south.
Exactly, in around Gildan.
That's right. So this city is definitely under attack.
Oh yeah, big time.
And the king of Gildan is running away, and Logain's army is everywhere.
Yeah, and Logain being the guy we saw in the cage at the end of last episode.
Right, Logain Ablar.
Right, okay.
Which is not a great name. I like Logain, don't like Ablar.
Why?
I don't know.
It's a last name.
Yeah, I like reading it. It's a good name to read. I think when people say it out loud, I think at the end, Leandrin really ruins it for me.
Okay.
And I can talk about that.
Yeah.
But...
It's the accent or the delivery?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You know what? I can understand that too.
Uh-huh. But anyway, so this is the guy who's calling himself the Dragon Reborn, and this is clearly a flashback.
Yes,
because
for sure.
He's not in a cage currently.
Yeah.
He's waging war in the south.
Good pickup on that one.
Uh-huh. Thank you. Yes. I picked it up. But some people might not.
Sure. Yeah. This is the before time.
This is just before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, Logain is like walking super dramatically, and the king's guards are throwing spears, but Logain channels.
Yeah, we gotta talk about this here.
And attacks. And I have to say, so I ragged a little bit on the weaves we could see in the first episode.
Sure.
And that whole fight sequence. But I have to say, these weaves are really cool.
You like them more.
I like them more, and they're better than Moiraine's weaves.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe Logain's more powerful.
It might be.
Maybe that's part of it.
I think, yeah, the more I think about it and the more I see, I feel like it really is just her actions that make it way worse for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because the fact that Logain barely moves...
He doesn't at all.
He's like not even moving.
Well, that's a cool guy thing though.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what they're going for.
I'm fine with it.
And there's probably explosions going off behind him and he's not even turning around and looking at those
He's
ones.
a cool guy.
So, that makes sense. But also, very noticeably, the weaves are not white. They're black.
Well, they start white.
They start white, they turn black.
Turn black.
Yeah.
And the most notable thing as to why that might be happening is because he's a man who's channeling.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, the king is wounded, and Logan confronts him and then calls himself the Dragon Reborn.
Yep.
And then he talks to some voices.
So this is where the subtitles are really important.
Oh, cool.
Because the voices that he hears manifest into, like, people, more or less.
Yeah, like the weaves manifest into people, like the shapes of heads or something.
Yeah, and the subtitles say Alusha.
Oh, there's like a name?
There's a name from what it looks like.
For the person who's talking?
Exactly. Like the shadow.
Oh.
Yeah, voice.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it says Alusha. And then that says, kill the king.
Yeah.
Right? And the whole betrayal speech.
Yep.
But then he doesn't listen to it, and he heals the king.
Yeah, but the king says, you've gone mad already, because he tries to kill Logan, and Logan's talking to himself.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting because it's just kind of like the other guy we saw in the first episode where Leandrin and the Red Aja were chasing him down, and he saw a dude that he thought he was talking to that didn't exist.
Yeah, and from the appearance, it seems like the first dude we saw from the first episode, almost like it was a real physical person, but the manifestation of the voices for Logan, it kind of seems...
It's just different.
It's just different. It's behind him, and they're not real people.
Yeah. But we had Leandrin saying the madness already has him, and then here we have the king saying, you've gone mad already.
Right.
And so now we're linking, like, seeing people, hearing people, into going crazy.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense.
Yes. So I really think that the special effects of the healing of the king's wound is really cool. I liked that.
Yeah. Yeah, the entire scene, too, like wrapping up the king's arm to turn the dagger, I thought it was all pretty well done.
Yeah, it's good. But then Logan says, there's room for anyone by my side, even my enemies. The last dragon broke the world, and I plan to bind it.
Right, and that's kind of the big cliffhanger. And at the end of this episode, we're going to see the King of Gildan come back.
That's true. We do see that. And now, before we move on, I just want to note, too, that Logan says that the dragon is just as likely to save the world as he is to break it.
Right, so a lot of backstory, history... I guess rumors, maybe whatever you want to call it. Prophecy. We don't really know. There's a lot of question marks around what the Dragon Reborn is supposed to do, might do.
Right.
That's kind of the premise.
Mm-hmm. And then we have our title sequence.
Yep. Has it grown on you?
Yeah.
More?
Yeah. I'm watching it more carefully now and more closely than I did before. So I do. I really am finding it very interesting.
Awesome.
Okay. Now... we're going to enter the episode seeing that Nynaeve is in an Aes Sedai camp, and then we're going to switch right away to seeing Moiraine in a tent being healed.
Yeah, so clearly everything from last episode went well. They got accepted into the Aes Sedai camp. I don't know if there's any concern that she wasn't.
Right.
Maybe a little bit, because we don't know how Leandrin feels about things.
That's true.
We can talk about that for sure this episode, too.
Yeah. And so this... Aes Sedai healing Moiraine is named Karini.
Yeah.
And she heals Moiraine. Moraine's good.
There you go. That's healing.
Easy. And then they're going to have a bit of a discussion about Logan and his thousands of followers and how, even though he's a false dragon, his believers are true.
Yeah, like it doesn't change the fact, even if the Aes Sedai don't think he's the real Dragon Reborn, there's still real consequences, and he has enough followers in an army, for example, to siege Gildan.
Right.
So that matters.
Yeah. So Moiraine is like, hey, I want to see this guy.
Right, we have to. Got to get an up-close shot here.
Got to go see him. So we walk to this cave that he's being kept in.
Yeah, it's what it seems like it is.
Okay. And we learn that Leandrin, Karini, and another Aes Sedai that we're going to meet here named Alana are the only ones in this camp who are strong enough to shield Logan from the One Power.
Yep.
So not only are we learning about these Aes Sedai, but we're also learning about how not all Aes Sedai are the same strength level in the magic.
It's not a 1-for-1-for-1.
No, it's not.
Yeah, and also importantly, the Aes Sedai who are strong enough also are working together in pairs to keep the shield on Logan because he's that strong.
Right, and when they link together, they can be stronger together.
Yeah, makes sense. Kind of a cool concept, being able to combine your power with somebody else.
Yeah, sure. So now they're going to talk about bringing Logan to the White Tower for a proper trial and punishment, and Leandrin really wants to just do away with him without a trial.
Yeah, let's do it now.
Yeah.
Let's do it now.
Which is interesting because that's clearly what she's used to doing by herself.
Yes, well, I mean, that's...
We saw it. We saw it happening.
Very first, right at the beginning.
Yeah, we did. So, Moiraine is going to take a turn shielding Logain so she can feel how strong he is. And newsflash, it's really strong.
Really strong. And then Leandrin does the dramatic, and that's only half his strength that you're feeling.
Well, and Leandrin also probably for sure does not like Moiraine, because she's like, that's our Moiraine.
Oh yeah, no, there's
so
clearly...
freaking selfless, or something stupid. But...
There's something going on between the two of them.
Yeah. Now, we're going to switch scenes to Lan practicing swords with Stepan. Although Stepan doesn't have swords, he has these other cool things.
They're axes.
Oh, they look like something that Ninja Turtles would have.
Okay, that's fair.
You know?
Yeah.
How each one has a different weapon?
Yeah, I get it.
I feel like that's a weapon that a Ninja Turtle should have.
For sure.
Anyway, so they're talking about tower politics, and we learn about a person called the Amyrlin Seat, which is the leader of the White Tower.
Yes.
We also learned that the current Amyrlin Seat is not fond of Moiraine, and she was planning on sending for Lan and Moiraine because they were gone too long.
Yeah, and we kind of get a bit of a backstory between Moiraine and Lan in their conversations this episode too, where they've clearly been on this search for a long time. So,
yes. That
kind of makes sense that maybe they're, doing things they maybe shouldn't be doing.
Maybe, or just staying away longer than they should.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, Stepan is going to get pulled away from Lan and practicing because Karini walks by.
But before that happens, one of my favorite parts here is the little comment that Stepan makes, because he comments to Lan, hey, what about that traveling companion you got there? Right. Who's that? And Lan's like, nobody.
Yeah.
So.
Right. So then we're going to get Stepan and Karini. So we get that they're Warder and Aes Sedai.
Yep.
And they're talking in a tent. Karini has a lot of respect for Moiraine, even though Moiraine really keeps to herself, really doesn't talk at all. And Stepan's like, well, same with Lan. They would be terrible dinner party guests.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good joke. And the dynamics of Warder and Aes Sedai isn't necessarily like only bodyguard. Clearly, there's a bit of a relationship there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and it's funny, too, because we have seen Moiraine and Lan be very stoic characters.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting to note this dynamic here, where not all Aes Sedai and Warders are just like emotionless, stuck-up, stoic people.
It's more lighthearted and fun. It can be.
Yes.
In the right moments.
Right. So we're going to get a little bit more information about Stepan saying that Leandrin is gaining traction with the others, but Karini's like, no way, we're not going to gentle Logan without a trial. But rumor has it that the Reds have been doing that across the countryside.
Yes,
and that's what we saw.
Exactly.
But we're going to jump away from this scene to Perrin and Egwene, who are still with the Tinkers.
They're still in their place of safety.
Yep.
I like it.
Yeah. And Perrin is not sleeping. He does not trust the Tinkers, and also probably other shit, too.
Nope. That's it. There's nothing else he's bottling up inside.
Oh, yeah. No mental health concerns?
Yeah, you were tracking the wolf, or the Trolloc bite, not the wolf bite, sorry. The Trolloc bite or cut that the wolf was licking. Mm-hmm. And we haven't really seen him tending to that.
There's literally nothing to track.
Yeah, we're just ignoring that still.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did the wolf heal it?
Magical licking properties, perhaps.
I don't understand. Because you're right. I am tracking that, and I haven't seen it.
Yeah, nothing yet.
Nope. I wonder, though. If I see it, I'll be like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, see him limping or something. I don't know. Maybe that's why he wasn't dancing this episode. His leg hurts too much.
They walked a lot.
That's true.
And if he has a very infected wound...
I mean, we actually don't know if they walked a lot. They walked some.
They wandered around in the plains.
Yeah, well, we don't know how far he actually made it.
We think it was pretty far. I think it was implied that it was quite a journey.
Yeah, maybe. Okay.
You couldn't do it.
No, I couldn't, but that's not the point. There's a lot of things in this series that I couldn't do.
I know, that's true. All right, so we have this moment between Egwene and Perrin where Egwene is like, listen, if you're not comfortable here, we're gone. We're going.
Yeah,
we're in this together.
She does come up with a better backstory, I think, than Matt and Rand did, because they didn't think of anything beforehand, and Matt just spontaneously said, we're from Barrelon. Mm-hmm. But Egwene delivers the line kind of like they had a plan.
Yeah, we're from Whitebridge, and we were separated from a caravan.
Yeah. And Aaron doesn't believe it, but...
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure you were.
Like, at least they came up with a backstory. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And coincidentally, the Tinkers are traveling towards Tarvalon.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh, isn't that just such a coincidence?
That's part of the pattern.
Yeah. So Tarvalon is the city where the White Tower is.
And it's where all the roads lead to.
That's right.
There you go.
Oh,
Makes sense.
We talked about that too already. Last episode. A little coincidental, but believable. I've been saying that a lot lately.
Yeah.
Do you know what that's from?
Isn't that John Mulaney?
No.
What's it from?
It's from Friends. It's from Friends when Phoebe is pretending to be Joey's agent.
Oh, okay. Okay, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, it's so silly. Okay. All right, so off they go with the Tinkers.
Yeah,
there they go. Bye. See you later.
Yeah, perfect.
Mm-hmm. Now, we're going to check in on Tom, Rand, and Matt in the woods.
Right, so they escaped. That's where we left off with them. They were escaping from Breen Spring after Tom knifed the girl, the dark friend.
That's right.
And they all left together.
Yes, got it. So now there's a farm up ahead, and Matt and Rand discuss if Tom is trustworthy, and Matt is kind of standing up for Tom a little bit because Rand doesn't really trust him because he killed that girl, and what if he killed her just to make us trust him?
Yep,
and,
that's
and
possible.
Matt's like, well, that'd be smart.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting because now Tom has a bit of a Matt has a bit of a relationship with Tom.
That's true.
They have interacted way more than Rand and Tom have interacted.
Yeah, absolutely, with the burial of the Aiel.
Yeah. And then it's interesting, too, because Matt says, you know what's interesting is that Dana Chick said that the Dragon Reborn could be one of 5 of us.
Yeah.
And we know for sure of 4 that Moraine thinks.
Right.
So who's the 5th one?
Exactly.
And then we cut scene to Logain.
Awesome. I love it.
And so that reminds me of the first episode when Moraine is like, oh, I think it's one of these ones. And then we cut scene to Egwene.
Exactly.
And so it's like, oh, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Who do you want us to think this is?
Cinematography.
Yes.
Right?
Cut scenes and stuff.
Gotta be. It's gotta be that
Gotta
one.
be.
Okay, so what are we thinking? Nynaeve or Logain or possibly... That's it. Those are the options.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a nod to the books where there was supposed to be an extra boy character joining them.
Okay,
and then he never ended up joining them.
That's true. And it's a funny little story because we have the 3 boy protagonists that go out, but originally in RJ's notes he was planning to have 4 because it was supposed to draw on the whole 4 hobbits leaving the Shire, like Lord of the Rings, but then there wasn't really anything for the 4th boy to do for a long time. Yeah. So his wife/editor said, you need to cut boy number 4.
Right.
So he does get cut from the initial group.
That's true. And Egwene and Nynaeve do make it on the trip.
Yeah, exactly. So... Fun little facts there.
Yeah.
It's good.
Maybe it's like a nod to that.
Who knows?
Like just a random extra one.
Yeah, let's throw it in there.
For fun. All right, so we cut scene to Logain, and he's in a cage, meditating, because his ears are stuffed with air and he can't hear anything.
Yeah, and this cage is pretty intense. Like, I gotta say, of all the cages that I've seen made, which is not very many, but very creative on how they did it.
Yeah.
It looks pretty scary.
Mm-hmm.
Scary looking cage.
Well, solid.
Yeah, that too.
I would say it's not scary.
I don't know, it's not like a square box or something, or like a rectangle.
No, it's intricate.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have Moraine and Alana currently shielding him. And then we're going to learn a little bit more about Alana here because she's going to tell a story about how she's known Moraine since they were novices at the White Tower, which is a new word that we learn, which is obviously like
student.
New Aes Sedai.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we get a description of the Green Aja, which Alana has chosen.
It's the Battle Aja.
Right. And also, typically, they have more than one warder.
That's true. And they're warriors trained to defend humanity from the Dark One at the last battle. But Alana never thought that she'd see it herself. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's kind of interesting, too, because we know a lot of time has passed, and however long you're going to live, you might not live to the end of the world, but apparently that's what we're going to be going through here.
Okay. Now, Alana does say very dramatically that Logain's strength is more than anything she has ever seen.
Yeah.
And the end of the age is here.
Right.
And then they talk about how the dragon is supposed to be at the last battle with them, but what happens if they let the Reds gentle him?
So, do we not gentle the Dragon Reborn or the false dragons? Well, we don't know. How do we know?
You don't know.
What do we do?
But then at this moment, Logain makes an attempt to break the shield.
Yeah. Kind of cool how they display this, too, because seeing the shields on screen is... I suppose it's a lot harder to show it versus in the books where shields, I mean, a lot of the weaves, like you're describing it, right?
Yes.
It's not necessarily a physical thing, more of a
thing you can see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here,
but
I
on
think
screen, it was interesting because we saw it for the first time when Moiraine takes over
the
shield. And what's interesting is when they're just standing around talking, we can't see any of the weaves. They're just sitting there kind of staring at him. Yeah. And that's how I mostly envisioned the channeling to go.
Yeah.
I don't think that we can actually see any, weaves of power.
That's fair.
And so then Moiraine takes over. We see the weaves settle on him.
Yeah. And then kind of disappear.
And then it dissipates.
So it's kind of cool.
So that's okay. I feel like we're leading in the direction where we're not always going to be seeing all the weaves, which is good.
Yeah.
I think.
I do, yeah. I guess depends on which perspective maybe we're supposed to be watching it from, too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So which characters are viewing things happening. I could see them doing a little twist on that.
Maybe. That's harder to place, but...
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to switch to Nynaeve, who is eating by herself on a hillside.
What is it? What is it? What is she eating?
What's she eating?
Is it cold chicken? Because there's a reference of,
later, I'll leave you to if you get sick of eating cold chicken, you can come eat with us. I just don't even care what it is. I just wish that she wasn't eating it like that.
Okay, how cold is it?
Well, and how... I'm not an actor, okay?
No, yeah, okay.
And I've never had to eat for multiple takes.
Right.
Over and over and over.
But we've listened to podcasts like The Office Ladies.
About eating in shows like The Office, where if you take a big bite of something, I've been told, then you have to do that every take.
You got to keep doing the big bites, so a lot of people spit it out.
Yes, spit it out, or don't take the big bites.
Yeah.
Now, Nynaeve here, Zoe Robbins made an acting choice to take the teeniest, tiniest nibble of the corner of whatever it is she's eating and then do dramatic chewing.
Right.
I was like, no, you did not get enough food in your mouth for that big a chewing.
Maybe she's taking lots of little bites and she's storing it in her cheek.
Oh, like a chipmunk.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
She's warming up the chicken.
It doesn't matter. The rest of this scene is great, but I really wish
You're not a fan.
There was different fake eating.
Okay, let's talk about what we like, because there is
why does she even have to be eating it all?
Doesn't matter. Okay,
that's my question.
Let's talk about what we like here. Let's be positive, because I think there's one of the best scenes and an awesome homage to the books.
Oh, it's the best.
And the fandom and everybody.
It's
everything.
like a big mic drop.
Yeah.
So, backstory, Nynaeve's name is spelled not like it sounds.
Yeah, Nynaeve.
Nynaeve.
Nynaeve. Yep.
Yeah. And people often mispronounce this name.
Yeah, and these
very, very often. Nynaeve, actually.
Well, literally
the
anything. There's hundreds of combinations for. There's so many names in this series.
Yes,
and obviously
same
starting
with Egwene. Egwene's a hard one too.
Yeah, Egwene, right? There's lots. There's so many names, and the book started in the 90s when nobody had the internet really to talk and all that stuff to understand how names are supposed to be pronounced. And Robert Jordan would do interviews. And literally, sometimes those interviews would consist of him just reading off characters' names properly. Yeah. So people knew how to pronounce them. There's even
a glossary at the back of each book that has phonetic pronunciation of people's names.
And even that, you're still not going to get it right all the time.
That's true. So Leandrin's going to come up here to Nynaeve and say, "What's the name? Nynaeve?"
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. And it's just the biggest.
It's so funny.
It's the best.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's so good. But Nynaeve doesn't want to answer any of Leandrin's questions. She says, "You answer my questions and we'll see if I want to talk to you."
Yeah, and the first question is, how long have you known Moiraine? So, obviously, these questions aren't going to be going so well in Moraine's favor.
Well, no, because we get Leandrin clearly doesn't really like Moraine.
Well, she smiles, too, when Nynaeve asks that.
Nice.
Like, I could make a friend out of Nynaeve through our mutual hatred, probably, of Moraine.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Well, the thing is, Nynaeve's hatred extends to all Aes Sedai.
That's fair, too, yeah. And I think hatred might be a strong word, because the relationship is a little bit unclear. Between
distrust?
Yeah, between Moraine and Leandrin. Like, it's kind of a little bit of a question mark.
Distrust.
Okay, that's fair too.
Okay, so we're going to switch out of that scene, back with Tom, Matt, and Rand, and they are talking about sneaking into the barn of the farm that they're at.
Yeah.
To sleep after it's dark out, because the farmer will never even know.
Yeah, so they can get in, snooze somewhere safely and dry, and then get out in the morning time.
Right, and then we get Matt's horse acting up, and he doesn't know why. And I bet it's because he has a spooky dagger with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was going to say, maybe he smells the people. There's 3 people,
other
people
that.
around
but
here,
also,
too.
I just always am like, that dagger.
Well, I like that, too.
That dagger,
it's
an evil dagger.
Well, you'll notice that when the farmer pops out, because he's got a bow drawn, he's like, yo, what are you doing? Get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Matt is reaching behind his back and clutching the dagger.
Yeah.
We don't see it, but we see his hand clutching.
Right, and that's important to note.
Yeah.
So now Rand calls out this guy for not actually wanting to kill them, and he does a really good conflict mediation here.
Definitely.
Good resolutions. Great.
Hey, I noticed by the placement of your hand on the bowstring, you don't actually want to kill us.
Yeah. And then the wife and kids step out with bows too, like they didn't even know they were there.
Yeah, I think the wife and kid were ready to kill them.
That's right.
Even if the dad wasn't.
Yeah. And then we learned that this is the Grinwell's farm.
Yeah.
And then we learned that they're allowed to stay in the barn, but after they do some work for it.
Yeah, work for your...
Muck out those stables.
Muck out the stables. Is that the poop? Scoop the poop out of the barn?
Basically.
I don't know.
Yeah. Shovel the hay.
Shovel the hay. The poop hay.
Yeah, that's right. Now, I think this is a really good time for us to take a very quick break, and we will be right back.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
Back to it. We're
going to jump right in to Nynaeve and Leandrin having a conversation about how Moraine chose the blue Aja.
Yeah, we got to break down these Aja colors and what they do.
Well, at least some of them.
Yeah, well, we get 2 more. We have the greens as the battle Aja.
That's right.
The fighters. We got the blues, who are basically spies, according to Leandrin.
Right.
And then, I just gotta say, totally unbiased, red is clearly the best one.
Is that Leandrin?
Oh, well,
yeah, okay.
Leandrin's like, hey, the Reds protect the world from those who use the one power.
Incorrectly,
blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Even other Aes Sedai, ooh. And we're open to all women.
Only.
From what it seems like.
Yeah, we know that Reds don't have warders.
Yes, yeah. And also, Lan comes up right as Leandrin is saying that, and she kind of eyes him when she says it's open to women. Right.
Now, Nynaeve is going to talk to Lan about the Aes Sedai getting Logain to the White Tower as fast as they can, because Nynaeve is very concerned about finding her friends. And now we're a little bit off course of where we should be, and if she thinks they're going to the White Tower, she's like, okay, let's get there.
Yeah, the deal was I help heal Moraine, I keep her alive, you help me find my friends, but now we're shifting here.
That's right. Now, we're going to switch over to the Tinkers and Perrin and Egwene, who are on the road, and it's kind of nice to see all the brightly colored wagons, because I was missing that a bit when we met the Tinkers last episode.
Yeah, it was too dull, you said.
But last episode was very muted. But this time we actually get to see all the colors that are classic to the Tinkers, the very brightly painted wagons and the colorful clothes and everything.
Yeah, very nice.
And so now it's really standing out.
Yeah.
And now Perrin comments on a group this size should be able to defend itself.
Yeah, because there's a little comment about, this isn't a very well-traveled route, right? What happens if we run into, brigands or bandits? So,
right.
This is where we get into a core element of the Tinkers.
Yes. So, Isla talks about the Way of the Leaf.
Right.
And how they forswear all violence and weapons, and Perrin is super incredulous about this.
It's like hardcore pacifism.
Yes.
To the extent where they won't do any violence for any reason,
Ever.
Even in self-defense.
No.
And that's part of the conversation. Like, what happens if...
Yeah.
Well...
And she's like, we run away.
And if we can't, we endure, and if you can't, you die.
Right.
So.
And then there's this whole speech about how the tree delivers the leaf back to the earth, and it nourishes the tree, and it's a whole life cycle.
The leaf in its time falls to the dirt that nourishes the tree, that in its time grows the leaf again. Nothing is ever lost, the wheel returns all.
See, that's what I just said.
Basically 100%. And then there's a very...
Pointed?
Yeah, pointed is a great way to say that. Remark from Isla to Perrin, and she asks, have you ever been in battle? Have you picked up a sword, an arrow, or an axe, perhaps?
Uh-huh. And has your life been better or worse since you picked up that axe?
Mm-hmm.
Well, first I want to go, oof. And then I want to say, he has a life because he picked up that axe.
Oh yeah, he'd be dead. From the Trolls.
He just wouldn't have a life. It wouldn't be better or worse.
It'd be nothing.
It would just be no life.
Yeah.
He'd be dead.
So, I mean, don't ask Perrin, but at this moment, maybe that's better for him. I don't know.
Oh, well, for sure. Like, maybe.
Yeah.
But probably not. Like, he really doesn't understand this whole, like, don't do violence thing.
Yeah. And I kind of agree with him.
Yeah. Now, that just, I think, is going to set up Perrin's entire character arc, because what we have here in the first couple episodes of this series, and we are learning about each character and sort of what's going to drive them and who they're going to be and why.
Motivations.
The motivations.
Right.
And for Perrin, it's very clear that he's going to be kind of tormented by this sort of violent nature.
Exactly. That makes sense.
Now, we're going to jump back to Matt and Rand, who are shoveling hay at the farm, and Tom isn't helping at all.
No, he's not. He's got better things to do.
Yeah, like perform for the family.
You got to stay fresh.
Yeah.
And apparently that didn't come up until, like, later.
Uh-huh.
So, that's strategic.
Yes. And true to the books.
That's pretty good.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, Matt is not doing very well at all. Like, he's quite sick. And so he goes off for a break, and he just starts throwing up.
Right. It's... yeah. This isn't like natural, normal sickness. This is not good sickness. This is bad. And in fact, it's going to get worse.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
And during this throw-up scene, I do want to point out that there's voices whispering in Matt's...
Ooh.
Yeah, in like the background. And it seems like Matt is having some hallucinations.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, because the place he took the dagger from, there were whispering voices.
Exactly, right? And then he sheathed it and they stopped.
No, when he unsheathed it, they stopped.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But seems like a connection.
Yeah, for sure.
So now a little girl is going to come out to give Matt a loaf of bread, and he thanks her and asks for her name, and she says, I can't tell you. Mama says you're strange and just to give you the bread and come right back.
Smart, except don't send
her
your daughter.
all.
Don't send your daughter.
Don't send her at all.
If there's a concern of stranger danger.
Yes.
Bring the bread out yourself.
Yeah. And now, gotta give props to the casting yet again.
Yeah.
Because this little girl is played by an actress named Robin Betteridge, who gives just an outstanding performance.
Yeah, I think it's adorable and fantastic, especially with the little Brigida doll.
Yeah.
And she says, oh, this protects me when I sleep. Here you go. It's pretty cute because Matt says, no, but she says, yes.
Yeah, I have lots. You can have this.
Yeah.
Because Matt talks about his little sisters at home. But I wanted to talk about Robin specifically because she follows us on Twitter.
Fantastic. Okay.
And we've interacted with her before.
It's amazing.
On YouTube.
All right.
So go follow Robin to see what she's up to.
Yeah.
So that's just like our little claim to fame.
Love it.
That's what we got.
Someone talked to us.
Someone talked to us. Who's in the show. It's good. It's exciting.
Yeah. Also, the actress who plays Mrs. Grinwell.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I asked her to come on the podcast, and she said she can't.
No.
So, you know.
Maybe now? I don't know.
DNA's, yeah, maybe, honestly.
Let's do it.
So that's Jennifer Preston, and I reached out on Twitter and just wanted to know about her experience filming on the show, and she said, thanks for reaching out, I appreciate it. However, my part was very small, and I'm mindful of my NDA, of course. I can say the crew and cast I met are amazingly talented and great people, and that the script, costume, and sets are fantastic. You're in for a treat. Best wishes, Jennifer. And I was like, oh, thanks for responding. You know, that's really nice.
Yeah.
So, those are our two interactions with
famous people. I don't know.
people who were on this show.
All right,
I think that's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
It's a good little tidbit. Also, you have a little bit of a tidbit about this character of the little girl.
Yeah, because originally in the subtitles she's listed as Else Grinwell, but she's cast as Helga. So I would have to assume that Else is incorrect. Else was a character in the books.
That's right. Else Grinwell is a
But
character.
they assume they just changed the name for it. So it's fine. It works.
I know. It's just an interesting tidbit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, we're going to get Rand and Tom talking about Matt, I guess presumably while this conversation with the little girl is going on.
Right. Yeah.
And Rand says, maybe he caught something. Like, maybe he's a little bit sick. And then Tom's like, no, man, I've seen this before. It's all the same signs.
Yeah, and we get Tom telling a pretty big story about how his nephew, Owen, showed the signs, and there's a lot of lead up to it, but one day he threw a rock without using his hands, so he channeled, and then there's a whole
story about how the power is, like, corrupted.
Exactly. The Dark One corrupted the One power, so men can't use it without going mad, and then the Aes Sedai found Owen while Tom was away, and they did what the Reds apparently are doing, is gentling him, so he was cut off from the One Power forever, and a few weeks after the Aes Sedai left, Owen killed himself.
That's right. So. And Tom thinks that now Matt can channel.
Yeah, so he's showing signs of all these odd things that are happening that happened with the lead up to Owen channeling for the first time, from what it seems.
All right. And then Tom says he'll stay with them as long as he can because they have to keep Matt away from the Aes Sedai.
Right.
And then Rand says, you know a lot for a simple gleeman. And then Tom says, there's nothing more dangerous than a man who knows the past.
Well, you know what I say is there's nothing more dangerous and cool than a person who sells insurance. Like, he really talks himself up.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Tom, the guy who knows a bunch of stuff. He's talking himself about, I'm the most dangerous type of person.
I guess a little bit.
It's kind of funny. Me, I'm the person
who's... you sell insurance. I know.
Yeah. That's the joke.
That's the joke. Okay, so they're really kind of setting us up now to think that maybe Matt is the Dragon Reborn because he's the channeler.
Yeah.
We don't know. They're really leaning hard into this, it's a mystery.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also leaning into the whole fact that nobody really is sure, and we get that later on with the Lan and Moraine discussion. So when we come to that, we'll point it out.
Okay, because right now, we're going to switch to the Warders, having a campfire, and drinking, and laughing, and telling stories.
All right, so they're not all just badass, hardened warriors.
Having a great time.
Having a good time.
Yeah. Also, as a side note, the actor who plays Alana's warder...
Yeah.
One of them, she has two warders.
Yeah.
The actor who plays one of her warders is Rafe Judkins, the showrunner's husband.
Yes, very cool. Very cool. Now, I do like these warders because not only are they having fun, but they're also telling a story and making fun of Lan.
Yeah.
Cool guy Lan.
Well, you know what I really do like, though, is Nynaeve was offered to go hang out with the Red Ajas, with the women, in their tent, whatever, and instead, she chose to go hang out with all the warders.
Well, because when Lan was leaving her on the cliffside a little bit earlier, when Leandrin said, hey, you can join us, Lan says, you can join the warders, but you can't push anybody into the campfire.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's like, that sounds way more fun. I'm totally into Lan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay.
Now, Stepan asks Nynaeve how she met Lan and Moraine, and then Lan jumps in to answer.
Like, real fast. Don't you answer, Nynaeve. We got to stick with the backstory.
Yeah.
Clearly, there's a bit of covering on what actually is happening and what's being told.
That's fair.
But where Nynaeve's from.
Okay. And now there's a bit of a discussion about the closeness of the bond between Aes Sedai and warders, because it's stronger and closer than any husband and wife, any parent and child.
Anything.
And it's magical. It's a magical bond where you can, like, feel each other's emotions and stuff.
Yeah, and the bond, the relationship can become sexual in nature too.
Yep.
But it's not guaranteed, obviously, from what we've seen with Lan and Moraine for sure.
No, exactly.
But in this moment, and even Nynaeve doesn't know that for sure.
No, she doesn't.
So everything that's happening here,
it's actually implied that Lan is going off to find Moraine.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the warders are going off to find their Aes Sedai, maybe to have some fun tonight.
Well, Lan does it. I think Lan does it intentionally.
Yeah, he does.
He implies it just to drive a little wedge into Nynaeve there.
Yeah.
Because Nynaeve's like, are they going off to... And Stepan is like, well,
What do you think?
And then Lan says, well, I'm going to go off too.
I'm going to turn in too. See ya.
Screw you, Lan.
Yeah. No, I like that Nynaeve is kind of uptight.
Oh, yeah.
We get her, like, conservative upbringing.
Oh, for sure.
From her little village. And she's like, well, the three of them surely don't.
And it's like, yes.
I was like, uh-huh.
They surely do.
They surely do. Mm-hmm. But then we get Nynaeve being a bit of a jelly monster.
Oh, yeah.
When Lan turns in.
Yep.
And then we're going to go see what's actually happening in Lan and Maureen's tent.
Which is just conversation.
They're just talking.
You know what I really like about Lan and Maureen's conversations and discussions and all the interactions is they have so much unspoken dialogue.
Yeah.
Where it's one side talking, the other not responding, but they still know. And it just shows how close they are and how long they've been together.
And that actually happens in the book.
Yeah.
To the point where I was, like, speculating. I was like, can he read her mind?
Yeah. And maybe
yeah.
to an extent that anybody who's been in a relationship long enough, right? Something happens, you look across the room and you make a look and your partner knows.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, or, like, best friends. Like, people know. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, they're talking about Logain probably being
that guy's not 20
years too old. And I was like, yeah, okay, try 30 years too old.
Hey, come on now.
No, I looked it up. That actor's 48.
Oh, yeah, okay. Things were different when you don't get to shower all the time, okay?
Okay.
It's different.
But, like, that guy's not 30. No, not even that. Guys, not even. Sorry, good looking. Looks great.
Not 30.
Not 30.
That's fair. I get that.
Okay. But he's very, very strong in the power, which we already know. But what's interesting is that he's not as strong as Egwene, probably.
Maybe. That's like a definite maybe.
But the
Maureen doesn't know.
that she's even considering that Egwene could be that strong,
he's
like, whoa, Egwene, that's crazy.
Yeah. And we don't know if, like, that
because we know that Moiraine and Liandrin and Alana and Creedy are all, like, super powerful.
Right.
Aes Sedai. And Moiraine is thinking that Egwene is going to be, like, so much more powerful.
So, I mean, that's also important to note that hypothetically Egwene could be, but clearly there's no... The training isn't there, the knowledge isn't there.
Well, not yet.
So all those things.
Yeah.
So we don't really know how all that works yet.
No, but it's important.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. But unfortunately, there's no dreams, there's no Trollocs chasing Logain, the Dark One doesn't seem to be after Logain, and again, this is all leading up to the fact that Moiraine says she doesn't think the Dark One has any better idea who the dragon is than they do, and Lan doesn't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's the speculation. Who is the Dragon Reborn? Nobody knows. Who is it? But it's good to know that the Dark One isn't also some sort of omniscient evil person, like thing, entity, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot of mystery, even for the bad guys.
Yeah, and now we are going to get that Moiraine is quite upset that they've hunted for 20 years for the Two Rivers folk, and now they've lost them. And it's funny because Moiraine is all emotional about losing them, and Lan is like, I shouldn't have drank tonight. You always get emotional when I drink.
So you can feel
things. And it's just like highlighting that bond.
Exactly. Yeah, it is really funny. And it's so funny that Maureen's emotional state is her being a little bit sad about losing what they've been looking for 20 years.
Yeah.
And she just like grabs his hand lightly.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're like, being emotional, Maureen.
Yeah. I know.
It's like, that's it?
Yeah. Yes. That's it. All right. So we're going to head over to the Tinker Camp. And it is party time.
I think this is my favorite.
I would for sure party here. Like, this is my kind of camping.
I think they do a fantastic job of capturing, again, the personality, the atmosphere of the Tinkers.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's nighttime, there's lots of dancing, there's music, everyone's really just generally having a great time. And
except for Perrin.
Oh, no, Perrin does not have a good time. Forget that. Everyone's having a good time except Perrin.
Right.
Now, Egwene is dancing with Aram. And Perrin is not dancing, generally miserable. And Egwene is asking Aram about the song.
Like, capitalized, the song. Yeah.
And Aram clearly thinks this is a silly tradition. I think he says only children and fools believe in the song.
And the song is something that in the last age, our people knew a song that brought harmony, and then they lost it in the breaking, and if they can find it again, they'll live out their lives in peace and harmony. So it's just kind of like, hey, is this really a thing? Clearly, Aram doesn't think so.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, right? It's a lot of mysticism around the song.
Yep. Nope. Really interesting. But then Egwene looks around at all the people dancing and just having a lovely time, and she says, "Are you sure you haven't found it?" Aww.
Yeah, it's very sweet. It is very sweet.
Yeah. Now, we're going to get that Perrin is fixing a wagon wheel and speaks with Isla, basically about the only way to end violence is everyone everywhere has to stop doing violence.
Yeah, it's like you get two of your friends to not do, and then they get two of their friends. It's the way of the Leaf
Pyramid scheme.
Exactly, and then finally, eventually, everybody just doesn't do violence.
Yeah.
Except for Trollocs, but
Right, because they're not people.
Yeah, Fades, just people who don't join your way of the Leaf Pyramid scheme.
You gotta get everybody.
Gotta get everybody.
The pyramid scheme.
Everybody has to be in, otherwise what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what, and we make fun, but there is the very sad story Isla tells about her daughter, Aram's mother, and how she was murdered for basically no reason, and then Isla is trying to, in her own mind...
Get revenge.
Well, she wants to get revenge, and then the best revenge against violence is to do peace, and she hopes that the world will be a better place for when her daughter comes back around with the wheel spins her out again.
Right.
So, I mean, it is kind of a sweet story, and it's pretty sad.
Yeah. Yeah. And Perrin's like, "Oh, I'm a dick."
I understand why. It's tough.
Yeah. But Perrin isn't a convert.
No. I don't think we have him.
No. And then we're just going to have a little side story with Aram and Egwene, with Aram totally hitting on her.
But in like who's your boyfriend?
In a respectful way.
Like, who's the guy who you lost because Egwene is staring out, like, very sad.
Yeah.
And Egwene says, "I'd know if I lost him," so...
Yes. And then we learn a little bit about, what is it, like when the Amish people leave?
Yeah, at 20 you go off and get to enjoy the world and see if you actually want to live the Tinker way.
Yeah.
Some people set sail, some people pick up arms, some people get a job or farm.
Most come back, some don't.
Yeah.
That's all that really matters here.
Exactly. It's all very metaphorical. Sometimes the leaf blows away from the tree.
Well, that part's metaphorical. The other part is not metaphorical. People actually physically leave.
Oh, yeah.
They live in the world, and then mostly they come back.
There's a lot of leaf metaphors.
There's leaf metaphors.
Because it's the way of the leaf.
We get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're about to get a new dream sequence.
Yeah. But
that seems to be Rand's dream, right?
But first, let's do the worst... Rand trying to console Matt before bed.
Yeah, no. "I'm here for you, bud," and Matt just doesn't even acknowledge it.
Nothing.
Okay, so we go to sleep. Rand is going to have a dream, but it's interesting because everybody is in his dream, so it makes me think again that everybody's having this dream.
Do you think everyone's in this dream?
Like, yeah,
like
maybe.
A collective dream?
Might be.
Okay.
Because we know dreams are weird here, so maybe.
Well, it seems like bad things are happening to the other people because he sees Perrin chopping away at the body of Layla, it looks like. At least a body.
Okay.
We've got Matt wandering around with bloody hands, and then Egwene is saying Rand, and then Fire Eyes Dude grabs Egwene.
Right.
But nothing specifically is bad happening to Rand.
No, he's just seeing it all. He's just kind of in
observing.
The chaos. Yeah,
so... Maybe they're each having their own, but with the other people, bad things happening.
Maybe.
Makes you wonder what's happening to Rand in their dreams, perhaps.
Right. Mm-hmm. So now Tom wakes up Rand and is like, "Matt's gone." So they run to the farmhouse to see all of the family dead everywhere.
Yeah, it's brutal.
And it's
a brutal
scene. Oh my God, what the hell's happening? So they see Matt standing there facing away from them.
Super creepy.
And he's like pointing to a spooky shadow.
Well, first what happens is when they zoom in on his face, there's a black shadow that like sucks up into his nose and his mouth.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's definitely something inside Matt that's living in his body now.
Ah, yuck.
It's not good.
No, it's bad.
It's almost like it's the shadow from Shatter Logoth. Well, yeah,
because so he's pointing with the spooky Shadow City dagger.
Yep.
At the shadow.
Right.
Which you're not supposed to be able to see.
Right.
And he says, "I see you."
And then there's a fade. Holy moly.
Yeah, because fades, we know from the books, travel through shadows only.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if they've said that
not
any
only.
point. Well,
they can. They can travel other ways.
I thought they only traveled through shadows. Or they mostly did. Or they can.
They can ride horses. They can travel that way.
Oh, we did see that. You're right.
They can walk.
Okay. Well, they also hide in shadows.
Yeah, they can hide in shadows. Yeah.
Okay. Now, a fade appears from the shadows, and Tom fights it, and Matt and Rand escape outside, and then the little girl's body is here.
Brutal.
And they drop Brigida the Brigida doll gets dropped.
Yeah, I know.
And we like zoom in on it.
How do we drop that? Like, come on, guys.
Come on, Matt.
Terrible.
Come on.
Yeah. So the implication here, Tom...
Unless...
Yeah.
No.
Nope.
I take it back. Matt still has his, and that one maybe...
was one of the other ones.
Other ones, because she goes, I have lots of them.
She did say that.
Unless, I can't remember, do we physically see it drop as they're riding away?
Oh, I don't know if I saw it drop.
Yeah, I don't know.
We gotta watch it again.
I guess so.
Okay.
And it doesn't really matter?
If the doll dropped?
Well, maybe.
I think it matters.
It matters because does Matt still have it?
Yeah, that's why it would matter. Okay. Now...
Okay, that's your homework.
Sure. Okay. The implication with Tom.
Yeah.
He's fighting the Fade. We don't know how that ends.
No.
Tom sets the path for the boys to escape.
Yeah.
End sequence with Tom. He's gone.
And end with Matt and Rand.
Yeah.
This episode.
That's right. Well, I mean, they clearly set off on their horses galloping.
Yeah, they're
away.
in
A better position.
They're away, and Tom is literally fighting a Fade.
Yeah.
So, which is worse than even a Trolloc.
You could assume, yes.
Now, we're going to switch to Leandrin and Carini. They're here with Logain, and Carini tells Leandrin, you spoke to everyone else. Did you plan on talking to me?
This is the whole Leandrin wants the gentle Logain. Let's get it over with, because we can't make it all the way back to the White Tower. It's way harder for us to maintain the shield on Logain than it is for him to try to break out.
Yes.
Right? We have to be perfect for so long.
But Carini's like, shut it, Leandrin.
That's not
why. We follow the law.
Yeah, and 3 oaths and Aes Sedai and not taking the easy way out.
And everything.
I understand where Carini's like coming from.
Yeah.
No, you can't just go or shouldn't go around gentling people.
No.
That seems to be against the law of the White Tower.
Yeah.
And Leandrin's a little bit too comfortable bending the rules.
Well, especially for this, because she hates men, and especially men who can channel.
Right.
Now, Lan is in the forest doing a ceremony, a prayer of sorts, and Nynaeve comes up and is like, oops, sorry.
Didn't mean to interrupt.
What are you doing? Except that I totally did. What are you doing?
You followed him here.
Yeah. And then we get a bit of a backstory about Lan and his people.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, so he says the ritual is of his people. He does the water thing 7 times for the 7 towers of Malkier. That's all capitalized, so that's a thing.
Yeah.
For the home we lost, the home we shall find again in this life or the next. So pretty obvious that his home, Malkier, is not a thing anymore.
Right.
The home we lost.
That's right. Now, Nynaeve is like, I know a prayer in the Old Tongue that has nothing to do with anything you just said.
Yeah.
And?
The subtitles gave me all the spelling for all the Old Tongue stuff.
Yeah, it did, actually.
Oh.
It was pretty good.
I typed it all out, but I'm not
gonna...
I did.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Just go listen to Nynaeve say it, because she did a great job.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Implying that I'm going to do a bad job.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
You will.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, but this is basically like connection time.
Right.
For Nynaeve and Lan, because Nynaeve's like,
something
I don't know what it means, and then...
It's something that they can bond over that's not just taking jabs at each other.
Yeah.
Because clearly they like the jabs between each other. There's a wit, there's a banter between them that they appreciate.
Sure.
But at some point you gotta get over that. You gotta move on to the sweet stuff too.
Yeah, okay. So we do learn that Nynaeve doesn't know her parents, and then that's confirmation of who she was lighting a candle for.
Okay.
On Beltane.
The parents.
I'd say so. Because there was an attack on her village, and her parents said something to her in the Old Tongue, and she doesn't know what it means. And then Lan translates it for her, which has to do with the king and queen of Manetheren.
Yeah, it's the last thing the king of Manetheren said to his wife in the battle. He knew they'd lose. We shall go into the land, so our children can always hold us, and we'll never be alone.
Right.
So very sweet for a thing for her parents to say to Nynaeve, and for her to carry forward.
Sure. And again, my parents say one thing to me in another language one time.
Yeah.
In a stressful situation, and I'm remembering exactly the entire thing forever.
Oh, so my interpretation was this wasn't a one-time deal. This was, she was a little kid, and this was a prayer that they would say over and over again. Because she talks about how she would say it when she was scared.
Yeah, I thought she would say it when she was scared after. Because she said her parents said it to her when there was an attack on her village.
Yeah, like that was the last thing her parents said to her. But that doesn't mean it's the first time they ever said it to her.
I'm going to go with what you're saying, even though I don't even really believe it. Because
at least
it makes more sense.
I can see a parent saying a prayer with their kids and the kid being very little,
I
not
know,
understanding it.
but the meaning of it is like, we're leaving you to safety and we're gonna go die.
Yeah, but it's in
right?
a different language, so the
I know,
kid
but
wouldn't-
like, why would you say that when you're not in imminent danger, leaving your kid? Like, the entire meaning of the prayer is like, we're leaving you so we can go die.
Well, they know that.
But why would they say that a lot of times, other times?
I don't think that the saying itself means like we're gonna go die.
I
think
thought
it's a
it
sweet...
is.
Yeah, no, I know you think that. I like my interpretation. I don't know.
Well, it does make more sense, but like, I don't think that's what they were going for.
Okay, all right. Well,
Okay.
Guess we're gonna have to agree to disagree.
Well, I want other people to weigh in and tell me what they think on this one, because
she has a perfect memory.
You know what?
I never forget.
Honestly, yeah. 90 really doesn't.
Yeah.
This comes down to that whole Egwene repeating the exact Tinker phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they just have good, like, memorization skills.
I mean...
They learn it in the Two Rivers.
like, maybe.
Yeah.
Mostly just Egwene and Nynaeve. It's, like, their personality trait.
Yeah. That could be a thing, too.
But it just seems wild.
Right.
Anyway. Now, we're gonna get interrupted here by a bunch of shouting in the distance.
Oh, no! This is the big final fight scene! Oh, man. This thing...
And this is a good final fight scene.
It's
This
good.
is a cool fight with the power.
A lot of stuff happens.
It's a little less cheesy
Okay.
than initially,
Sure.
but we still got a sprinkling of cheese.
A little bit.
You know,
we
still got our fantasy cheese, especially with the gentling of Logain.
Sure.
That felt super cheesy.
Okay, you know what? Whatever.
But the blowing people up in the forest, I thought was cool.
Yeah, I mean,
like that.
Again, I don't know very much about TV and budgets and what we see in a lot of movies.
Oh, Logain's hoisted up.
But we're not even at that part. You're skipping so many events before we even get there. Get out of here. No way. Okay, so first off, opening scene, I think, is incredibly cool.
Yeah, okay.
So badass, because everybody's surprised. They know there's an attack, but they're all surprised, and there's just a hail of arrows coming down on them.
Oh, yeah.
And Alana catches all the arrows, perfectly times it until the enemy's, like, right there, and throws all the arrows back down on the soldiers who are attacking.
Yeah, it's great.
It's fantastic. Like, and again, we got to look at what the power can do as a thing. And just for the record, that's a thing. That's really cool. You can catch that many things.
Yep.
Turn into a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the point when we start to get the intro to the Logain lashing out and basically smashes through Liandrin and Karini.
Right. And knocks them out.
Right. At least temporarily. Here.
Yeah. Now, I do think that the melting of the cage after his shield is broken is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think they do a good job of that. And clearly, Logain lashing out and knocking out the Aes Sedai released him of the shield so that he can channel.
For sure. Like, he broke the shield.
Yeah, but that also tips
broke
off...
them as he broke the shield.
Yeah, and that tips off Stepan, who can feel that Karini's, like, knocked out, so that's why they all start retreating to the cave.
Yes. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But Moiraine is going to enter and sort of say, we gotta talk quickly because the others are gonna be here soon, which draws Logain in to want to talk to her and not be so on guard.
Yeah, so, is she just stalling, or does she actually want to know?
I think she really wants to know, and I think she also is stalling.
Both. They can be both.
Yes.
Okay.
Because she asks him why she should believe that he's the Dragon Reborn. And Logain's like, I can hear the whispers of all the dragons who preceded me, and they're teaching me to do better. I'm not going to make their mistakes.
Right.
And then Moiraine just, like, completely rejects his argument.
It's like, no, man. Nope.
No, you're not. You're a candle to the dragon who will be a blazing sun.
Exactly. So that is interesting that Moiraine believes that Logain, who is way stronger than anything Alana has ever seen before, like twice as strong as any of the Aes Sedai, like crazy strong, from what we can see, and the Dragon Reborn is supposed to be that much, like, candle to the raging sun, like crazy. Absolutely the amount of power. Yeah, crazy.
So now Karini, Moiraine, and Liandrin all work together to shield him again because Liandrin and Karini come out of their knocked out stages at the exact same time.
Moiraine,
don't ask questions. Don't ask anything. Don't ask about it. They do, okay?
Yeah.
It just happens.
I'm here for it.
So they shield him again together, but Logain is trying to bust out.
Yeah.
And Karini sees this. She diverts her shield to shield Moiraine and Liandrin.
Yeah, from like a shadowy
from
dagger
his
thing.
Lashing out.
Yeah.
But then she's not shielded from his lashing out.
So she gets stuck to the wall.
She's killed.
Yeah, she's killed.
She's dead.
And Steppen feels that.
Like, pretty instantly.
Panda Steppen, he's like, Karini.
Yeah. And it's like chaos everywhere. Again, with that classic Robert Jordan fight scene.
Yeah,
chaos.
The fog of war.
Yep.
I do like that it seems like in the filming of this, they used actual... like explosives.
Yeah.
It wasn't just green screen. It wasn't just CG. It seems like they legit took the money and the
parts of the
they
ground.
blew up stuff to make it look authentic.
Way better.
I like it. And maybe you're not going to get as visually enhanced explosions and channeling and magic stuff.
Yeah.
But you get like real gritty.
No, I liked it. It was
dirt
better,
being thrown
for sure.
around. I will note that one of the Red Sisters gets stuck with a couple of arrows, but we see them heal her in real time and get her back up, and she's back in the fight immediately. So that's pretty cool. You can heal someone, and they're up and going.
Yeah.
And also the King of Gildan, from the beginning, he's leading this charge to free Logain.
Yes.
And he dies here.
Yeah, he does.
So, goodbye.
Okay, so we get that Moiraine and Liandrin are barely holding Logain because he is really trying to escape and push back. And Steppen and everybody else comes in.
Yeah.
And Steppen sees Karini and then goes into this rage and attacks.
Does like a jump attack.
Logain, and then sort of does a thing where he breaks the weaves with his axes.
Well, see, what I see is happening here is they're trapping Logain not just with a shield, but they're wrapping him up in a shield of air too to keep him in one spot. So when Steppen, and by the way, this scene was used in the trailer shot too, with Steppen jumping. But when his axe pierces the shield of air around him, Logain sees a way to break through the shield of air and then explodes the axes so that they shatter.
Are inside the air.
That are
shield.
half in, half out of the air, and then those shatter and send
go everywhere.
Fragments everywhere.
And hit everyone.
It's such a shocking scene. I was stunned.
Oh, yeah.
I was caught so off guard.
What the hell is happening? Is everyone just about to die right now? What's going on? Lan is sliced across the throat and bleeding out.
So fast.
Hit. Moiraine is hit.
Has another wound. She just got healed, man.
Yeah, no, it's a huge thing. And then Nynaeve is kind of in shock because she didn't get hit.
She came in a half a step behind them.
Yes, that's right. And she runs over to Lan, starts putting pressure on his bleeding neck, and then screams... no, and then has this wild, crazy, giant burst of healing.
Oh, yeah.
Magic.
Oh, yeah,
Power
she does
channeling.
it. She does all of it.
She does it, and she heals everyone.
Well, and then we got Logain looking shocked and saying, like a raging sun.
Yes.
Just like Moiraine was like, hey, your power is going to be nothing compared to the Dragon Reborn, and we get Nynaeve doing something huge.
Wild.
Mass
so
healing
crazy.
everybody.
I know. This was wild and crazy, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I really loved it. And so, now, everyone is healed, Logain is shocked, and the Aes Sedai all take this opportunity to link together.
Yeah, everybody now.
This is the kind of okay, now we're sprinkling the cheese on. With the whole, lifting him up. And then, Liandrin... It's supposed to come across as, really intense, but she's like, I punish you, Logain Ablar! I don't know.
I got. Let the hands of the tower fall on you, Logain Ablar, and
except
take
the
back...
way she says it.
She
doesn't just say it like that.
I know.
Logain Ablar! I just hate it. I hate it so much. Okay, go on.
And take back that which nature itself does not wish you to hold. Number one, nature clearly wishes him to hold it, but it's just all corrupted and stuff from the Dark One.
Sorry.
Oh, man. Yeah. But it's also showing that Liandrin's clearly, there's a prejudice, there's a hatred that's really showing through here.
She was just waiting for this moment.
She literally was. That was the buildup of the entire episode, is Liandrin is working behind the scenes for the opportunity to do this.
Yeah.
Now she has it.
Okay, so here's my question for you.
Sure.
Do you think that somehow Liandrin let off the break and let Logain
break out
so that there was a reason? I'm
there
was no way for her to know that everyone was about to be almost dead and Nynaeve would heal everybody.
Well, and maybe she thought that they could contain him again once he broke out,
because she said several times earlier in this episode, if he breaks out, then we have a reason.
Yep. We can
because
gentle
we can't
him.
contain him.
Yeah, we can gentle him if he breaks free.
Do you think
Yes.
Liandrin let him out?
Yes. I'm going with yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then we get to see her almost burning herself out. Moraine said, you're drawing too much. And we saw some glowing behind her face, like she's drawing too much of the power. Maybe there's a little bit of shocking guilt because she thought, hey, we'll let him break out. We'll shield him again. We'll gentle him. But then they can't contain him. And now she's like, oh, no, we can't contain him. So she's pushing really hard.
Interesting.
So I think it fits perfectly that Landrin set it up.
Okay. Well,
what do you think?
I think,
you taking the same or are you going opposite?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I asked. Because
right.
I think that for sure she would do that.
Love it.
Yeah. But, so he's gentled. And the only way that we can show that this guy was stripped of his power is to have it all come, like, pouring out of him.
Yeah, rip the darkness out of his chest. Like, what else how else are you going to show it?
I wish that...
What do you want here?
I wanted something of just maybe it to be more of like a severed, rather than it all like pouring out of him all weird.
Sure.
I don't know.
I mean, I like how they did it.
I know you do.
It's a visual
You
thing.
like everything.
I don't know. Why am I nitpicking that? Like, what else are they going to do? I like it.
I know. I didn't.
Okay. And you're allowed to not like it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Logain is gentled, and then Nynaeve is like staring around at everybody.
And Lan's like, whoa.
Yeah, because she's kind of like, I don't know, she reminds me of like a dog in a corner.
Right.
Where she's like super defensive, doesn't really trust anybody.
She hates Aes Sedai.
A crazy thing just happened. She just channeled like crazy to heal everybody.
Yep.
And she's like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, hey, Nynaeve gets another badass look at the end of an episode.
Love it.
She already got one ending.
You know what? More badass Nynaeve.
I like it.
Love it.
Okay.
I love it. I love show Nynaeve.
Okay. Yeah, me too.
I love show Nynaeve.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a departure from book Nynaeve for me.
You know what? And I like a little bit of cheese sometimes, so.
I know you do. You love cheese.
It's good.
Who doesn't like cheese?
It's a fantasy show. Like, what are we doing here?
I know.
What are we doing if not living in a fantasy world?
No, I want it to look like real life, but that just also magic exists in.
That's not how it works,
Brett,
man.
That's what I want, okay? That's all. That's all I'm asking for. Is that so hard? Cinematography.
Right. Let me say it slowly again.
Just do that. Do cinematography, guys. Okay. Well, I guess we're going to go off and watch episode 5.
Yeah, episode 5 is Blood Calls Blood.
Also a chapter title.
Yep.
From the second book, if I recall.
Blood Calls Blood, chapter 7 of book 2.
That's right. Okay, so thanks for joining us for this breakdown. Because as we say around here, it's part of the pattern now.
Yeah, it's part of the pattern.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. The Wheel Weaves is hosted and edited by Dani and Brett, produced by Dani and Brett, with Passion Socks, Cody Feltz, Benjamin, Michelle O'Brien, Jamie Young, Megan Smiley, Jared Berg, Ricky Morissette, Lance Barden, Charlie Haz, Adam, Marta Thier, Michelle Forbes, MKM, Antoine Benoit, Lawrence Bradley, and Eric Reed. With music by Audionautics. Please be sure to check out our Patreon page if you are interested in supporting us and the podcast. We would love to send you some Patreon exclusive merchandise as a thank you. Plus, you'll gain access to our episodes earlier than everyone else. And at the time of recording, we have over 40 bonus episodes for your listening pleasure. You can find all that and more at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. For general information about our show and information like how to send us shot glasses or how to join our Discord or how to get in touch with us, you can visit thewheelweavespodcast.com. And as always, please be sure to give us that 5-star review because it really does make a huge difference in helping other people find us. Right now, we are offering to send exclusive merchandise to select people who give us 5-star reviews if you leave your username for Instagram or Twitter, and I'll reach out to you that way. Also, please be sure to tell a friend, Riyadh, because referrals really are the best compliment. Thanks again for listening. This really is part of the pattern now.